Well, we're getting down to that final, that little final day, Saturday. We have to get out and vote. We have to. I actually think I know your state now better than you do. I have been all over the place for the last 4 days. I know every blade of grass. I've flown over from here to there. But we've had a great time. Amazing people. Amazing people. Great place. Amazing people. And I just want to thank you all because the spirit has been so incredible. The polls have come out and they're so strong. But you have to assume we're tied, okay? Please, assume you're tied because on Saturday you have to get out and vote, right? So I love you too. I love you, darling. Believe me, I love everyone here. You know, it all starts, make America great again. That's what it is. Somebody was asking me. I did a big show today, and it's going to be on actually in a little while and on network. And I just said, they said, what's it all about? I said, honestly, it's about our theme. It's make America great again. We want to be the smart people. And it started, on June 16th. I took a deep breath. I was with my wife. I was in Trump Tower. I took a deep breath because it takes guts to run. You run for president. It's not easy. And all my life I've heard if you're a successful person, you can't run for office. And maybe they're right and maybe they're wrong. But so far they've been wrong, let me tell you. And I saw what was happening with our country. I looked at that Iran deal and how disgusting it was and how horrible it was, where they get $150 billion. They get $150 billion. We don't get our hostages. We give them the money. We get our hostages. Those hostages should have been back 4 years ago. Those hostages should have never been taken hostage. And we get nothing out of it. And when you get right down to it, what's going to happen? Iran is now taking over Iraq. We decimated Iraq. I didn't want to go in there. I said it years ago. I didn't want to go in. I said you're going to destabilize the Middle East. It's going to be unequals. Right now, you have a situation where Iran has all the power. They're taking over Iraq. We decimated their army. It used to be the same, right? Remember? It was the same. They'd fight, 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 continue, fight, they'd rest, they'd fight, they'd rest. This went on forever. And now, all of a sudden, Iraq is gone. Iran takes over it. We spent $2 trillion, thousands and thousands of lives of great, great young people, wounded warriors all over the place. These are great people. Wounded warriors all over the place. And what happens? Iran is going to walk into Iraq, take over the second largest oil reserves in the world, whereas they used to have to fight and they were never going to get there. Now they take it over. And what I'm saying is this. We have to start being smart. We have to start being vigilant. We can't let people into our country that we have no idea who they are. Build that wall. We're going to build that wall. We're going to build that wall. It's amazing. Amazing how, the other day, one of the guys that are running against, these guys, forget it. You forget it. But one of the people running, all of a sudden, my wife came up to me. She said, darling, I don't believe it. He said, we have to build a wall. They never said building a wall. And by the way, the politicians, it's never going to happen. You know that. We're going to start that wall so fast. Before we even start the wall, we've got a lot of bad dudes. We have 179,000 illegal immigrants, criminals. So we have 179,000. We found this out the other day. Criminal, illegal immigrants. These are people that have committed crimes, in many cases very serious crimes. They're in the country. They're all over the place. They're all over the place. We can't have it. We can't have it. We're not going to have it. So on June 16th, I said, come on, we have to do this. Because I watched Iran. I watched all of the problems that we're having. I watched the $19 trillion that we have in debt, which is now going to $21 trillion. It's going to go $21 trillion very soon. I look at all the problems. I said, This country has such incredible potential. We have another 4 years of a Hillary, which is like an Obama clone. It's never going to come back. You're never coming back. It's just not going to work. And, you know, speaking of Hillary with the emails and all of the thing, I think she's being protected. I think she's probably going to be the one to run because I think she's being totally protected. Do you ever notice the way she's acting with Obama now? The president is right about this. The president is right about that. Oh, the president doesn't want to do this. The president, I mean, did you ever hear her so solicitous? I mean, you know why? Tell me why. That's right. She doesn't want to get indicted. That's right. That's right. No, I've never seen anything like it. I've seen her for years. I've never seen her like this. Everything he does is right. The fact is, look, she's got a problem, big problem. She is in his hands right now. If she wins, she's essentially another Obama clone. We can't have it. We can't have it. We're going to make our country great again. We're going to be so sharp, so smart. We're going to make the right deals, not the wrong deals. And it's going to happen. But it looks to me, right? It looks to me like Hillary's going to get it. Wouldn't they have already done something if they were going to do it? Are they going to let her run and then at the last moment say you can't run? So she's being protected by the Democrats. It's a disgrace to General Petraeus and other people that have gone through hell for doing much less than she did. I mean, what she did is far worse. Right? And a poll just came out, USA Today, shows I beat Hillary Clinton. I'm going to beat her so easily, but it just came out 2 minutes ago. Gotta beat her. Gotta beat her. We gotta beat her. And one of the things I was just telling one of the really good anchors around town from Fox, and just in the back, I said, we have to be unpredictable. He says, what are you going to do with ISIS? What are you going to do? What's going to happen? And I said, you know, I have a really good chance. We have a really good chance of doing something here and winning. I really don't want to tell you. You remember when I said you have to hit the oil and the gas and you have to hit the hell out of it, but you have to take the oil, you have to hit it hard. Well, nobody did that. I've been saying that for what, 4 years now? Now, then you had Paris, and all of a sudden, France hit the oil. France did it. We didn't do it first. Now we're sort of doing it, but we're saying, listen, we're going to hit anybody that's around. Please move. This is the craziest war I've ever seen. You know, if you're driving a truck, they give you a notice. Please get out of the truck. We're going to bomb you. No, the whole thing is crazy. And if they don't get out of the truck, they don't bomb. Do you think this sounds like the great General George Patton? I don't know, somehow. No, I don't think so. I don't think so. We need General. He says we need General Patton back. We need General Patton back quickly, let me tell you. So we have to be unpredictable a little bit. We have to be. We can't keep talking. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We have ideas. We're going to do them. We're going to have great people. We're going to have great ideas. We're going to have. I'll give you an example. Trade. China is taking so much of our money. It's one of the great thefts in the history of the world. $505 billion this year. We're going to have a trade deficit, okay? Now, they send stuff to us. We send stuff to them. They don't pay tax. We can't get our stuff in there. They devalue their currency. They're masters. I mean, they are literally masters at devaluation. They make it impossible for our companies to do business over there. Impossible. So I have friends that are manufacturers. They can't get their goods into China. When they do get their goods into China, remember this, big tariff to pay, big tax to pay. It's not fair. It's not an equal footing. And I get along great with China. I have the biggest bank in the world as a tenant. I sell condos, tens and tens of millions of dollars of condos to people in China. I mean, how can I dislike them? I have the Bank of America building in San Francisco, which is great. I got it through China, through fighting with China. Let me tell you, it was rough. Fighting with China. I have the greatest businessmen in the world endorsing me. Carl Icahn endorsed me. He's a great businessman. We're going to put our great business people. We have the best business people in the world. We're going to put our great business people in charge of trade negotiations. We have political hacks doing work that they shouldn't be doing. They're not qualified. We have, remember this, we have the greatest in the world. We have political hacks. People that gave campaign contributions are doing it. Not going to happen anymore. We're going to have the greatest trade deals. We're going to get rid of these trade deals. Look at what's happened. You take a look at, we just won New Hampshire. You probably heard, right? Right? Big. In fact, if we could win by that number, I would be extremely, extremely happy. I'll tell you that. I would be very... But a lot of people think we're going to win by more. But again, assume it's going to be tight. Just go, go, go. Saturday, big day, go. In fact, some people already voted. Who already voted? Who already voted? South Carolina? Because over here you can vote early if you want. I mean, but a lot of people have already voted. You voted? You voted for Trump, I assume, right? Otherwise, I'd say, get the hell out of here. So we're going to have our greatest business people negotiating trade deals. It's so important. And I talk about it all the time. Remember this, Mexico is the new China. Look at what's happening with Mexico. They have right now we have a trade deficit with Mexico this year, $58 billion. Nobody knows that. So when I'm on the stage with these politicians, these guys, hey, look, some of them I like, but some are just terrible. They lie. Oh, they lie. This guy Cruz. He lies. I never saw a man lie like this. No, look at what he did to Ben Carson. He puts out a rumor that, or hears something. He said, Carson is out of the race. This is during the voting. Don't vote for Carson. Vote for the... And they're grabbing people and taking them. And thousands of votes, in my opinion. And then after the election's over, after the caucus is over, it's all gone. He said, he calls up Carson, who's a really good guy, Ben Carson, calls him up and said, I'd like to apologize. Oh, great. That does a lot of good, right? I don't think his apology was accepted, by the way. Then he does a voter violation certificate that looks like it just came out of the IRS. It's like this incredible thing, and he scares people. It says, you got to, essentially what it says when you break it all down, you got to vote for Cruz in order to get rid of your violation. I mean, it's a fraudulent document. I never saw anything like it. These politicians are worse than real estate people any day of the week. They are the worst. They are the worst. No, they lie, and they say things that are so untrue, like I'm pro-life, okay? So they go out and they say, Donald Trump's not pro-life. Now, I heard about it. So we went in and we checked. He said that. And then they stopped saying, you got to be strong, but they stopped saying it. But what do? They say that. I am... By the way, just a couple of things. Common Core, you know what's going to happen. We're going to end Common Core. We're bringing it back. You know that. Second Amendment. Nobody is stronger on the Second Amendment than Donald Trump. We're going to protect our Second Amendment. We're going to protect it. And most of you know me, and a lot of you have heard the speeches, and you've heard what I said. Second Amendment's a staple of what I say. And I'm constantly talking about Second Amendment, we're going to protect it, we're going to protect it. And this guy Cruz goes out, Donald Trump doesn't like the Second Amendment. What do you do? What do you do? Now, the advantage I have over other people is we have a speaker. We have a nice big speaker. What? I agree with you. Thank you. Stand up and say it once again. Yeah, I love this guy. Look at this guy. No, I'll tell you, even Rubio, you know, Rubio said the other day, called him a liar during the debate. He said, you're a liar. And, you know, normally you don't hear that from a politician to another politician. They like to protect each other, right? But Rubio said, you're a liar. And I said, that's good, because now I can call him a liar, too. But he really, I'll tell you what, he really lies. So anyway, we're doing great. But our country is in trouble, and we need smart, tough people. We need people that are going to make us rich again. We need people that are going to, because we need people that, and you know, a woman, and I tell this story all the time, this woman came up, this incredible woman, she said, I really like you, Mr. Trump. I think you're going to be a great president, but there's one thing. You always say we're going to make our country rich again. That doesn't sound good. I said, I know it. It sounds a little bit harsh. But can I be honest with you, ma'am? To make our country great again, we have to make it rich again. We're like a debtor nation. We owe all of this money. We owe we owe right now to China $1.7 trillion. We owe $1.5 trillion to Japan. Sort of like an incredible act. They come in, they sell their cars, they take our money, they take our jobs, and we owe them $1.5 trillion. How do you figure? It's like a magic act in reverse, right? Not good for us. With China, they do a number on us like, and I mean it, the single greatest theft in the history of the world, what they've done to this country. And I like them. I like them. I'm angry at our politicians. The single greatest theft. But think of it. They come in, the jobs they take, the manufacturing they take, and by the way, be careful. They're forcing Boeing to build a big plant in China. And you people think you have it made with Boeing? It happens very fast. All of a sudden, they devalue their currency, and then they do it again and again and again. And we have people that don't know anything about devaluation. The trade deal is going to be a disaster. The Trans-Pacific, it's going to be a disaster. The partnership, they make it sound like a partnership. You know what? It's a partnership for them, not for us. And China's not in that deal, but China will come in through the back door. Over the years, China will go into that deal, come in through the back door, and absolutely take advantage. But the thing they don't cover in that deal is so important. They don't cover devaluations. They don't cover monetary devaluations and currency devaluations. And that's the primary weapon that China and other countries are using against us. So how can you make a deal where the primary weapon is virtually not discussed? You can't do it. So we have people that don't get it. That would be a disastrous deal, by the way. That deal is a deal that shouldn't happen. Be careful with Boeing. You have your Boeing, but watch what happens. When they start, they're building a plant, a massive plant in China. They were forced to build it because China's ordering planes. They say, all right, but you have to build a massive plant. All of a sudden, that plant will be big enough to do a lot more work. They'll devalue their currency, and you could say bye-bye to your jobs with Boeing. Not going to happen if I'm president, because I know what to do, believe me. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. I mean, just be careful. Remember, I love you too, darling. Who is that? Ah, beautiful. Thank you, honey. We had last quarter zero growth, essentially zero growth. If China has 6% or 7%, it's like they're going to go into a depression.
GCU offers more than 160 innovative programs.
The jobs reports are phony, 5% unemployment. Give me a break. If we had 5% unemployment, you wouldn't have every arena that I speak at packed. Okay? In all fairness, you wouldn't. In all fairness to security, in all fairness to ISIS, because I do win. I win on the border. Every poll says he wins on the border, he wins with military, he wins with all of these things. And it started with the border, because I have the real border. I have the border where people will come into our country, but they're coming in legally. They're going to come in legally to our country, the right way. But we have zero, think of it, we have zero growth for the last quarter. We're doing terribly. Look at the stock market. And you know what? We're in a big fat bubble. You watch what's going to happen. And I'm very good at predicting these things. I've made lots of good predictions, like don't go into Iraq, like take the oil. They follow me later, right? Like take the oil. So many good predictions. Stock market predictions, housing predictions. I make good predictions. Just be careful, because some bad things could be happening if we don't do something quickly. We have to be very careful. We're so tied into China and Asia that as they go bad, we get taken down with them. We have to be careful, folks. Now, we want free trade, but it has to be fair. Carrier, right? So we talked about Carrier. Carrier goes in right now, last week, and it's sad. Somebody probably had a cell phone. These cell phones are murder if you're trying to be, careful. If, like, you're the head of Carrier and they're murder. And some person took the clip of the man, the head of Carrier, saying, we're moving 1,400 jobs. We're closing. We're going to move 1,400 jobs to Mexico, right? And you see the people. They're devastated. They're crying. They're devastated. They've been there for years. They make air conditioners, right? Carrier. And what happens is they're moving to Mexico. Now, how does that help us? It doesn't help us. How does it help us? It hurts us. And we have hundreds of cases like this. So they're moving to Mexico. So let me tell you, the lobbyists and the special interests have taken care of all of the guys that are running against me, every single one of them, okay? They're taken care of. You look at Jeb Bush, he had 148. By the way, most of it's been gone. It's just gone. Thank you, man. He's just low energy. He's low energy, that's for sure. He's more than low energy. It's a lot worse than that. But he's got $148 million. The head of Johnson & Johnson, Woody Johnson, who's a major owner of Johnson & Johnson, is the head of his campaign finance, okay? Now, tell me, when it comes to pharmaceutical companies and drug companies, they're not going to be able to do anything. I'm self-funding my campaign. Nobody takes care of me. You take care of me. You take care of me. I mean, you take care of me. And just remember, so many of the deals that you see where you think it's impossible to make it, they're not really that bad a deal. They're great for the politician. They're great for the company. It's a bad deal for the country. But it's not like they're stupid. They're all being taken care of. They're all taken over. And I know it. Look, before I ran, before June 16th, I was on the other side. I was a big contributor to everybody. I gave $350,000 to the Republican Governors Association. I gave a lot of money away. And I understand it. We have to get rid of this horrible stench that we have because our politicians, our country's not doing like that. Our politicians are not allowing us to be strong and to be smart. I'll talk about the drug companies. As an example, we purchase more drugs than any entity in the world, as you can imagine, the United States. We have a prohibition on negotiation. We can't negotiate. If we negotiated, we save probably $300 billion a year. Can you believe it? $300 billion. Now, somebody's getting that money. It's called the drug companies. We have a prohibition. Now, Jeb Bush has Woody Johnson as the head of his thing. Ted Cruz has people in other industries, too. In the military industries, in the defense industries, in the lumber, in everything. They're all covered. I'm not covered. In fact, you saw in the debate the other night, I had my few people in my family there. The room was packed with special interests going crazy. Jeb would come in, he'd make a fool out of himself, and they'd get a big ovation. I'd come in and tell you what to do, how to do. No, I come in with the two top judges. We want to do, and you know, they get a little splattering of blood. I said, oh, good. Then I look out in the audience. I know all these people. I know many of them. Special interest, lobbyists. They will tell these people what to do. So here's what happens. When it comes down to, like, the drugs, I'm going to say, hey, guess what, folks? We're bidding out drugs. I don't give a damn. We're bidding out drugs. We're bidding it out. We're going to save. We are going to save hundreds of billions of dollars by bidding things out. Even in defense, we have companies, and you've been reading about it since you're little children. We are buying equipment that we don't even want because the company that's selling the equipment is politically more adept than another company that has the equipment that we do want. And even our generals and our colonels and our soldiers and everybody that wants the equipment, we're not getting the right stuff because the companies that have the political power are selling stuff. And how often do you read that? Where we're ordering planes that we don't want. Where we're ordering all sorts of stuff that we don't want. The stuff that we do want, we're not getting. It's going to end. It's going to end. It's going to end 100%. So now you're fired. So now Carrier announces, right? So they're going to move to Mexico. So let's say I'm president, okay? No. Let's look. In fact, let's have a little fun first. Let's say Hillary's president. Now, she knows it's no good, but Carrie is represented by lobbyists, and they have special interests, and they have donors, and they have all sorts of stockholders, and they're all friendly, and they probably almost definitely contributed to Hillary, and they contributed to Ted Cruz, who's, they're terrible. They contributed to all these people. Look, they contributed to all these people. So they go to Hillary and they say, this is a terrible deal for the United States. I mean, they're moving over there. They're going to make air conditioners. They're going to sell them back into the United States. What do we get out of it? We lost the jobs. We lost the factory. We lost the real estate taxes. We lost everything. So she's going to say, oh, that's very bad. That's not a good deal. We have to do something about it. 2 minutes later, she gets called by a lobbyist. And the lobbyist says, you can't do that. They were a big donor. And she says, you're right. I could never do that. And that's the end of that, right? Here's what Trump does. Here's what Trump does. President Trump. Here's what President Trump does. You know, we have a movement going on, folks. This isn't like, I mean, you look at this crowd, compare this crowd to everybody else. Here's what President Trump does. I probably have my people call, although I'd much rather do it myself. It's just not presidential. You know, they say sometimes you're not as presidential as you should be, and sometimes you're not as politically correct as you should be, but it's so much more fun. So I'd like to be unpresidential and make the call myself, but I'll have somebody else do it. You know, it's so much. You can't call as President of the United States Carrier and say, what are you doing with your air conditioners? You know, it doesn't work. So here's what we do. I'll have somebody call, but I'll be watching. And they're going to say to Carrier the following. They're going to say to Carrier the following. Number one, Trump doesn't have, you don't, wasting time sending your lobbyists to see him because he won't even take their calls, okay? Here's the story, folks. You want to move out of the United States. You want to lose all those wonderful jobs and wonderful people. You're going to hurt those people. Here's what's going to happen. Good luck in Mexico. You're going to make your air conditioners in Mexico. And every single time you sell an air conditioner to the United States, you're going to pay a 35% tax on that air conditioner. Believe me. It's the only way you're going to do it. It's the only way you're going to do it. Folks, I know I'm a free trader. I believe in free trade. It's the only way. You know, all these guys in politics, I mean, the politicians are sitting back. How do we stop this? Because we're losing a lot of companies. We're losing Pfizer. They're leaving. They're going to Ireland. We're losing many, many companies. It's called corporate inversions. They have tremendous amounts of money sitting outside of the United States. They can't get it back in. By the way, the politicians, Democrat and Republican, all want to get the money back in. But we have a president that's not a leader, so he can't sit him in a room. If I were president, I'd sit in a room within 10 minutes. I'd have everybody says it's good if they bring $2.5 trillion. It's good if they bring it back in, right? Who would not say it? Everybody agrees. They can't agree. This has been going on for years. So companies are actually leaving the United States to get their money. Think of it. They're leaving the United States for their money, and they're leaving because the taxes are too high. I'm cutting taxes way down. We're going to have an incredible economy again. We're getting rid of all these rules and regulations that are meaningless and impossible. But we're going to have to get smart. Now, people will say, oh, Donald Trump was terrible the other night. He said that he was going to charge a tax to Carrier to sell air conditioners. Folks, I love free trade. I think it's great. But it's got to be fair trade. We got to get something out of this stuff. We're dying. We're dying. Remember what I said. Zero growth the last quarter. You know, a tiny bit more. Zero growth the last quarter. And it's only getting worse. It's only getting worse. So when I say this, I'm a good businessman. I built an incredible company. You know, when I filed, first of all, they all said, I'll never run. Then I ran. Then they said I won't Form A is like this brutal form where you sign it, you're signing your life away. He'll never sign Form A. I signed it, okay? They said, what's going on here? Then they said, well, he'll never put in his financials because maybe he's not as successful as everyone thinks. I put in my financials. I'm much more successful than anybody ever believed. Without extensions, without it. And I say this, I have some of the greatest assets in the world, very, very low debt, tremendous cash flow. I say this not in a bragging way. It's the kind of thinking we need for the United States. We need this kind of thinking. Thank you. Oh, I love this woman. Look at you. You are so nice. Thank you, darling. I appreciate it. No, I appreciate it. Did you vote yet? Did you vote? But you better be there Saturday morning. I'll be checking. I'm going to be here Saturday morning, so I'm going to be checking. I'm going to be checking. I'm going to be here Saturday morning, Saturday night, and Sunday morning. And if I'll either be extremely happy or I won't be happy at all. It's one of those. But I think we're going to be happy. So at some point, you have to say, look, it's got to be fair trade. You know, free trade, and we all believe, you know, China, as an example, as I told you, it's not free. A friend of mine buys an airplane, and he can't get the airplane back into China. They want this massive tax. He ends up selling the airplane at a big loss. Do we feel sorry for him? No, I don't. I don't care. I said, how can you be so stupid? You don't know that they charge you a tax? He didn't know they charge a tax. He believed what everyone thinks, that China, that it's no tax here, no tax there. They are brutal, not only with devaluation, but they're brutal as you can be with taxing. So here's the story. We're going to have the smartest people. We have the smartest business people in the world. We're going to use them. We're going to use them. And you know what? Some of these people you won't like. Some of them are horrible human beings, right? Some of them are vicious, disgusting, crude, no personality. Who cares? Who cares? And I know the best. And some are nice, about 2%. But I know the best. And these are guys, they don't want money. They want to do it. It's like sport. They want to do it. They're the best at it. We have the best in the world, and we don't use them. So we're going to start using them. I give you another example, though, the Ford plant. You know, I talk about it all the time. And then 2 days ago in the Wall Street Journal, I've been talking about the $2.5 billion Ford plant for a year and a half, right? I'm always talking about the $2.5 billion. So I figured that, I mean, they have to be shamed at some point. Well, 2 days ago in the Wall Street Journal, I read again, now they're going to double down. They're going to make everything bigger in Mexico. We can't do it. So they come in. They're totally, look, the politicians, again, the auto industry, they're totally controlled. They're totally controlled by these people. With me, it's going to be different. Ford's going to move there. I wish him so much luck. But again, the only way we can do it, and I know every way. You know, they're saying, well, we'll do this, and we'll create incentives, and we'll create taxes. It's not going to work. The only thing that's going to work is we're going to have to charge these people to bring their stuff back into the country. They're leaving our country. They're building these massive plants. They're employing Mexican labor, which is fine for Mexico. But it's not fine for us. And I love Mexico. I employ, over the years, Hispanics, tens of thousands. But again, their leaders, like China, their leaders are too smart for our leaders. Our leaders aren't smart. And in addition to that, our leaders are controlled by the people that own the companies, by the special interests. They're controlled, okay? So here's the story. Look, so Mexico's going to say, and then you'll hear, Donald Trump is not a free trader. He's not a conservative. You know, like Jeb Bush, he is not a conservative. You ever see this guy? He's like a clown. Donald Trump is not a conservative. And I am a conservative, but I'm like a common sense conservative. We have to be smart. We have to be smart. So with Ford, we're going to call them. We're going to say, listen, folks, don't call your lobbyists and tell them to call me because it's not going to work. I couldn't care less about your lobbyists. I know half of these guys anyway. Don't call. Here's the story. I don't want you building in Mexico. I want you building in Michigan in the case, okay? You don't mind, right? Michigan. Let Michigan have their car industry, right? You guys will get you something else, okay? We'll get you more airplanes to build, although you're doing pretty well with the cars, I have to say. Look, we're going to say very strongly, we want you to build. We want you to build in the United States, anywhere. We don't care. We want you to build in the United States. They're going to say, we can't do it. We've made commitments. I said, that's okay. Once we charge you the tax, they're going to come back. So we're going to charge you 35% tax. Cars, trucks, and parts. I mean, on top of everything else, you know, our border's so porous, they'll have illegal immigrants driving the cars right over the border. They'll save a fortune, right? Right? They're going to have illegal immigrants. Boy, oh boy, they've got it figured, I'll tell you, you know. But when that wall is built, I'll tell you what, there's no illegal immigrants coming across. They have to come across legally. You know, that group, they love that wall. Hey, let me just, okay, are you ready? Who's going to pay for the wall? You better believe it. So, and they're going to pay for it. And again, you know what I told you? With a $58 billion trade deficit, right? In other words, we're losing our shirts with Mexico. And that's not including the drugs that are coming over illegally, which is probably more money. With a $58 billion trade deficit, we have a $12 billion wall. It's peanuts. So... I wasn't sure if they were protesters. They're actually on our side, right? They are on our... I love them. But you know what? So the politicians come up to me that I'm dealing against. You know, we had 17 total. Now we're down to what, 6, 7? And didn't we do great in the last debate? Somebody said Trump was too mean, he was too nasty. You have to be mean against these people. What they say is so wrong. You got to be mean. You have to be every once in a while. Not all the time. But I'll tell you what, we had a great debate, and the numbers went way up since the debate, and a lot of good things are happening, and people are getting the message. You know, Nikki Haley gave a speech a couple of weeks ago, and she said that yeah, it's not good. First of all, she's very weak on illegal immigration. Very weak. She's very, very weak on illegal immigration. You can't have that. We need strong, strong immigration policies. We need to be strong. We can't go like we've gone before. Very weak. But she gave a speech, and she talked in the speech about the anger. She said there's anger. And I said, you know, I was asked in the debate. They said, well, you've been said that you're angry. And I was supposed to say, well, I'm not angry. No, I'm very happy. I'm extremely happy with the Iran deal. I'm extremely happy with the fact that everybody's moving to Mexico, China, Japan, Vietnam, and everybody else. No, I'm thrilled. I'm supposed to say. So I'm saying that, you know, this was a debate question, not this last debate, the one just before. And she made a nice speech, but she talked about the anger, and she was referring to me. And my people, the people that, you know, we have the most loyal people of anybody. Do you know, by the way, in New Hampshire, we won with the highest educated, the lowest educated. We won with women. We won with men. We won with old. We brand new, beautiful little babies, practically. We won every single group. So anyway, so she said, no, they're angry. Well, if they're talking about angry, we win with every group, so everybody's angry. But the question was, are you angry? And I'm supposed to say, no, I'm not. I'm thrilled. And I just said the right answer. I said, I am angry, I'll be honest, and so are the people that follow, because we have the most loyal people. The people that follow Trump are angry. They're angry. And remember this, we're not angry people. We're not angry people. I mean, I'm not an angry person, but you get upset and you get angry when you see such stupidity, such gross incompetence. And it was a great answer. It turned out to be a great answer. Then they asked Ted Cruz, he was standing right on my left, and they said, waterboarding, Senator Cruz, what do you think of waterboarding, and should we continue that practice? Now, remember this. He says, waterboard. I know what you said. I heard you. I won't repeat it because I'll just get in trouble with these people. I decided not to go that way. I'm not using those words anymore. But he did say something, which I hope most of you heard. I refuse. Even if I repeat it, that's no good. Nothing's good. You know, even when I go, I'm going to do, and I stop. They show it on television, and they blank it. Right, Al? Oh, Al, one of the great veterans of all time. Stand up. Al Balisero. Stand up. This guy, he's the only guy in this room, he's more militaristic than Trump. I'll tell you, he loves the veterans more than any person. He follows the candidates around. He wants to see what they're saying. And I think he likes Trump the best. Do you like Trump the best from the standpoint?
Well, you know, Senator, you've been with the vets many years before you even thought about running.
It's true.
And I've looked at your history.
Thank you, man. Thank you, Al. Thank you, man. Thank you, Al. It's really nice. I'll tell you, he's a great guy. He's a great guy, and he wants to take care of his vets. So anyway, so we are going to do things right, folks. And here's what I want you to do. We are going to be rich again. We're going to be strong again. We're going to be respected again. We're not going to be a laughing stock. We're not going to make Iran deals where we give all this money and we get nothing. We're not going to do that anymore, folks. The biggest problem I have, somebody said, what's your biggest regret? That the Iran deal went so fast, because I thought they could delay it maybe even longer. You know, it took years and years to make, which should have been done in a week, right? But after I realized how incompetent our negotiators, I figured maybe we could delay it longer, because I would have killed that thing so fast. But they've already got their money. They've got their money. They've got $150 billion. They've got their money. I hate that. But here's the story. We're going to start winning again. You're going to remember this night. You're going to remember this night. And maybe almost as importantly, you're going to remember Saturday. Because you're going to go, we're going to pull those triggers, we're going to do something special. We're going to create a mandate. And we're going to win on health care, and we're going to win with our military. We're going to have a military that crushes ISIS quickly and surgically, okay? We're not going to stand for the threats where they're cutting off our people's heads and Christians' heads, and frankly anybody else that happens to be there, and drowning people in steel cages. We have no choice. We're going to have to knock the hell out of them, and we're going to do it, and we're going to do it strong. And we're going to win with our vets, and we're going to win with education. I have to tell you, this group is very smart. You think you have the better location, right? But you don't, because they're going to become famous. Look at all the cameras, see? They're going to be the ones on television. Now we have an amazing country. The thing that I see more than anything, I've gone around the country, and I've seen thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people. In 35,000 people in Mobile, Alabama. No matter where I go, the biggest crowds. Nobody has much bigger than Bernie, although he is second, I will tell you, but much bigger than Bernie. The people of our country are incredible. The potential we have is incredible. I'm saying to this, listen, we're going to win again. We're going to win in every single respect. We're going to make America great again. I love you all. I want to thank you all. On Saturday, go out and vote. Go out and vote. You're going to see this, a big change. Thank you very much. Go out and vote. Make America great again. Thank you. We love you all. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, everybody.